Yo, 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 yo. We are back once again. High value basketball. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe, family. You know the drill. So, we are back doing another roster breakdown. And today we are covering the lovely Detroit basketball. Yeah, so let's see what they are up to this coming season, 2022-2023. So, we know that they had a couple of offseason moves. They shipped out Jeremy Grant over to Portland, and then they brought in Marvin Bagley III from the Kings. That's a nice little something. They had old buddy off to Portland, who essentially wasn't really a best fit for the team. Jeremy Grant ran off to Portland trying to be, quote unquote, the guy. But yeah, I knew that was not going to be a good move when he left his previous team to do that, because of the way I saw him playing in his potential. I'm like, he's a second or third guy on the team. He's definitely not no lead dude, as far as not a dude leading a team to any type of winning situation. And as we can see, that's what happened. So he got shipped out. Maybe a better fit situation for him as the second man over in Portland. And then they bring in Marvin Bagley III, who was essentially kind of having some lackluster time in Sacramento. So maybe we can get some career revitalization out of him, seeing how well things could go with the Pistons. And so they got Marvin Bagley on the squad. We got the young phenom Saddiq Bey. He's a young cat, but he is essentially a part of the reason why they were okay with letting Jeremy Grant go, because he's a wing player, kind of high flyer. So we got to let the youth basically grow in similar terms, in similar team building, and similar age and things like that, as opposed to having Jeremy Grant kind of clogging up the lane, clogging up the ball, thinking that he's the man when he really not. So Saddiq Bey is basically his replacement. We got Buddy Boeheim. I'm pretty sure he's just a new draft pick. Have no idea who old Buddy is. No commentary. But we got Alex Burks. That's a mile to pick up, because Alex Burks, came over from New York. Like I say, players who play for the Knicks, they usually don't have fairly good runs. Not because the players themselves may not necessarily be any good, but the organization and the team and the coaching, like, none of it is really conducive to letting a player shine like that. So Alec Burks might have a little revitalization coming over to the Pistons. He's a seasoned player, more of a vet. Like I say, he's 31 years old on a team full of young folks. So, he might be the seasoned vet role. And that might play a little better for him, because even though he is a wing player, he is more of a shooter-oriented wing player, as opposed to a slasher like Saddiq Bey is. So that might work out a little bit for him, being somewhat of a shooter on the team, being an old head veteran with the veteran savvy. Of course, we got Cade Cunningham. Cade Cunningham, of course, is the young phenom. What is this? It's going to second or third year. Please forgive me. Second year. He's showing himself to be an all-star level potentiality. Being an all-star guard. Essentially an East Coast Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Different play style, but just that the big nucleus for a team. We already know what to expect with him. He had a monster second half of the season in his rookie campaign. Hopefully he does not hit a sophomore slump. Then we got Hamidou Diallo, similar type of player. Again, this is interesting with the Pistons, because they basically have a staple of wing players. A lot of teams always have too many forwards, or they got too many guards, or they got too many centers. The Pistons got too many wing players. So we got Hamidou Diallo, who is essentially a lesser version of Saddiq Bey, who was a lesser version of Alex Burks, or maybe a similar version. And so we already got that lineup kind of getting blocked in together. Then we got Jalen Duren, a center from Memphis. Don't know who he is yet. We're gonna see what he comes up with. Got Carson Edwards, same thing, draft out of Purdue. We got Killian Hayes. Killian Hayes, of course, made a name for himself. He's doing similar things as well. He's a wing player. Like I say, in the lines of the Diallo and the Saddiq Beys on this team. So he's filling in that rotation. What's kind of interesting, though, because he's listed as a point guard. When I watch him play, and I watched all his highlights and stuff like that, he seemed to be more wing oriented. Now, I will give it to him that he can handle the ball. So putting him at the point guard position probably would be hopefully most effective as far as, what to get out of this team because they have so many similar type players. But he felt more like a wing guy to me. But they got him at the point guard, so we'll keep him at the point guard. Same thing, Jaden Ivey. Now, Jaden Ivey, what I saw his highlights, he is a true point guard to me. He seems like to be the backup for Cade Cunningham eventually. I can see Jaden Ivey doing some good things because he's real shifty and he plays like an actual point guard. Like he sets players up, to pass. Like he doesn't just try to score. So that's pretty good. We got Frank Jackson. Not entirely sure who he is. Not going to do too much already. Don't expect much out of him. Corey Joseph, again, he's another guard. Probably just playing the backup, filling that in. Not going to have much impact. Braxton Key looks like he is a new draftee as well. We got Kevin Knox II drifting over from New York as well. The Kevin Knox thing, I don't know. I guess he's really just going to fill in that power forward position as a big body. Because from what I saw with Kevin Knox, he wasn't doing too much to me. He wasn't, he never really did anything. He's just a guy to me, just a guy. So I could see him backing up Marvin Bagley just to solidify that position. Hopefully having some depth there will, make the team a little better. It's always better to have bodies than to not. But I don't necessarily see him as a plus or minus. He's just a guy. We got Saban Lee, another young player. Don't expect him to do too much. Isaiah Livers, Livers, same thing. He's a 6'7" player. I feel like he's going to play in that exact same similar kind of role as their staple of wing players and just having multiple bodies there. Maybe he gets some playing time to bring some relief to players. Maybe not. We'll see. We got Riley Magruder, another young player, not necessarily anybody. Nerlens Noel, another big body filling in a power forward, maybe center position. He's extremely one-dimensional, barely any offense, barely a live threat. He can maybe get a half a block a game type of thing. So, he's just a body to be out there, but I really don't see him having any major impact. Kelly Olynyk. Now, we do have the Kelly Olynyk, player. Well, we have the player Kelly Olynyk on the team. Jeez. And I do feel like he's actually somewhat of a plus because he's stretch. He can shoot a little bit. They need as much shooting as possible on this team because as far as I can see, there really isn't any real shooting. So to have a stretch four on the team, that could always be a plus. He's not necessarily defensively the greatest, but hey, a body is a body, especially for this type of squad. Jamarco Pickett, don't know who that is. Sorry. Gabrielle Procedure, definitely don't know who that is. We got Isaiah Stewart, Captain Popoff himself, Mr. Bloody Rage Man himself. Definitely give Isaiah Stewart a shout out because he has a motor on him. That dude can run up and down the court. Hopefully he has some skill improvements over the offseason and he can be a better integration to the team because he's definitely a big, strong body that they definitely could use, especially on defense. And then they actually have the addition of Kemba Walker. So, we know Kemba Walker's on his last legs in the league. For whatever reason, he just fell off a cliff. He was doing all right. Went over to Boston, kind of fell off a little bit, not all the way, but a little bit. And then went to New York and just fell off the face of the earth. So hopefully him landing in Detroit can give him a nice little farewell. Maybe he does okay. He can back up. He can back up Cade Cunningham and maybe just bring some type of legitimacy to the team. As an old head, as a savvy veteran, all of that. So what I see with this team based on the squad, they're young. They have a staple of wing players that duplicate or replicate the same thing. They do have some interesting big men. They do have some interesting big men with Marvin Bagley, with Kevin Knox and Kelly Olynyk and Nerlens Noel and Isaiah Stewart. They do have a staple of young big men, but they are all undersized, in my opinion. Let's say Marvin Bagley 6'11". He could be 7 feet, but the way that he plays, he doesn't play like he's that big. But nevertheless, young team. They got the young star Cade Cunningham. They got a nice staple of wing players, a nice staple of big men, maybe undersized or not necessarily the toughest, but they have a staple. And I honestly see them growing together, getting a little better. And this team might be the next play-in team. I'm going to put them in that spot. I'm literally going to put them at the 8 spot and put them in the play-in tournament to see if they could eventually make the actual playoffs. So yeah, Detroit basketball play-in team, Cade Cunningham is the future. They're trying to round out, see if they can make a wing-oriented squad, looks like.